in a show that he was choreographing that was a Zoom show, and he kept me on the Zoom call, and he put me in a private breakout room, and he was like, Emma, I was watching you dance, and like, you like have it. Like, he was like, and what you do is not perfect, but it doesn't need to be. Like, please don't let anybody tell you that like because you're not perfect you can't do this. Like, do go where it takes you. And I was like, and I literally like turned off the Zoom and like cried. I was like, that is so kind. Hello. No, I hate it. My name is Emma Giordano. I am a dancer, a dance educator, and choreographer currently at Starstruck Dance New Jersey, and I'm also a musical theater actor and performer. I started dancing when I was 3 years old. I was taking classes at my preschool, and then I started taking class at Starstruck when it opened in 2007. I went to Muhlenberg College, and I have a degree in theater and dance with concentrations in dance education and performance, and now I'm here. I knew that dance was definitely something I wanted to pursue. I would say probably in my sophomore year of high school. I started competing in dance as a freshman in high school, and so I was competing and training a lot more rigorously, and I kind of was just realizing how much I loved dance. One of the things that I always loved to do as well was singing and acting, and so I was in a musical at the time in my sophomore year of high school. I had this moment where it kind of clicked for me, where I was like, if I pursue musical theater, I can kind of have everything that I love in one place. And then I had a professor in college who was like, please go where dance takes you, and I feel like I've always kind of done that subconsciously. I've continued to kind of follow that path and just see where it leads. As a dance educator and choreographer here, I teach students in both our competitive and non-competitive programs from age 4 all the way to age 18. I am teaching multiple classes a night, multiple days a week, and I teach certain like style classes as well as technique classes, and I choreograph pieces for many of the classes to be performed at recital or to be competed at competition throughout the season. So yeah, that's most of what I do, I think. I think the biggest difference for me for being a dancer and receiving that choreography myself, and then also being a choreographer, is that I think being a choreographer has really informed how I think about being a dancer as well, and definitely seeing how my choreography is received and interpreted helps me to be clearer as a choreographer when I'm explaining or demonstrating, and then it also helps me to be clearer as a dancer when I'm receiving somebody else's choreography. And so I really enjoy getting to work at both ends because I feel like it always helps me get stronger. The way that my choreographic process works, it really depends on the parameters of what the piece needs to be. When it's completely open-ended, I definitely am inspired by music, and also a lot of times the titles of music. Like in the one piece that I spoke about before that I choreographed in college, the piece that I used was completely instrumental, but the title of it was called Life Story. I really liked the title Life Story, and so I kind of started thinking of like growing up, and then it ended up being a story about like growing out of things and growing out of like a box that you've been placed in, kind of. And so I think I just kind of let the storyline run, and then the movement kind of follows and mimics that. And then when there are more parameters around it, it's not as open-ended. I feel really lucky to get to teach the students that I also choreograph for, because what we work on in class informs so much of what we do choreographically. And so getting to see their strong suits, getting to see what they're working really hard at is really cool, because then I get to put those things on stage for them. And so I think definitely working with students of all different ages and across all different styles of dance really gets my choreographic brain going in so many different directions, but I'm so grateful for it. It's really, really cool. And so definitely the dancers that I'm working with really inspire what the pieces end up being too. I was also taught to always use repetition as a tool. So a lot of times if I have a piece of music that's inspiring me, I'll improv and I'll find a piece or a motif and I'll repeat and repeat kind of until something is born of that. Or, you know, if it was an upper body movement, what would it look like to do that with my lower body? How would that translate? And so I definitely play a lot and improv a lot. It's hard for me as a choreographer to keep everything up here. I really have to do it. So yeah, I definitely play a lot in my choreographic process, like just by myself. So I always really want to implement skills that my students have and elevate those things. I really value quality of movement, and I think that so many competitions do too, and I think that's what's made so many studios really successful is when they have like a really good blend of both. I think when I'm choreographing and I'm thinking about how competition has some acro dance in it now, I definitely am again kind of playing off of what my students have shown me in class that looks really strong, and whatever that is, I want to highlight it. If they have really great quality, I want to highlight it. If they have a really great aerial, I want to highlight it. So I want them to be the best they can while also pushing them to grow those new skills as well. Yeah, so one of the ways that I'm furthering my experience and career as a dancer right now is just taking as much class as I can myself. And so I'll go into New York City a lot and I'll take class at Broadway Dance Center or Steps on Broadway. And I also had such a wealth of really diverse experience coming from Muhlenberg College with my dance degree. And then with my experience taking classes now as an adult professional, I'm so inspired by so many of the teachers I get to continue to learn from. And even though I've been training for so long, there are so many things that they say that still give me a kind of light bulb moment and help me to get out of my head, because dance is really just as mental as it is physical, I think, for so many of us. Noticing that when I'm in a class as a dancer, I can get really in my head sometimes reminds me that those that I'm teaching might be in that same place. And so kind of calling on any techniques that teachers are using to get us out of our heads is super helpful as a teaching tool, and just being able to reassure those I'm teaching that they're working hard and that they're doing well, and that even if they're not perfect, it's still okay, and that's why they're in classes to learn. And definitely classes in New York City. I've had so many teachers who are very adamant about treating class as class and not as an audition or anything like that, and using class as a space to mess up. And so definitely encouraging that kind of vibe so that when we're on stage, we've had the right practice and we've made the mistakes that we need to make to then be the best that we can. I think that a great way to continue the passion of dance once you've graduated and classes aren't as accessible anymore, I feel like the internet is such a great resource. Like any YouTube like dance workout or anything like that is honestly so fun and gets your body moving in a way that will feel fulfilling as a dancer. I think even just challenging yourself to be like, oh my gosh, I loved this music video, I want to learn this choreography right now, and like getting yourself back into that headspace. There are also so many studios that offer adult classes local to our area. I don't know about everywhere, but like I think that those can be a really great resource if you have the means to do that. And classes at Broadway Dance Center and Steps are both like $25 a class, which like really is not bad at all. But yeah, you can go on their websites or through their apps and look at their schedule for the day and just sign yourself up and go. I didn't realize that it could be that easy, I guess. Then being like, oh wow, I can take class from these like working professionals any day that I'm able to and have the means to, like that is really amazing.